Welcome to our 5 on 5. We're pleased to be joined by Bob Beckett, the Executive Director of Columbia Care Services. Bob, great to meet you. Thanks for coming in.
Great to meet you. Thank you.
All right, so tell us, what is the mission of Columbia Care Services?
Columbia Care is a mental health organization, and we primarily provide residential treatment for people that would be discharged from the state hospital and are not ready to go home or live in an independent apartment and still need some more intensive services or maybe skills training to help them adjust to living back on the, back in the community.
Mm-hmm. And what sort of age group, if you could classify it for us?
We provide primarily, adults and children have to be separated, and all of our facilities are for adults except one. We have one facility for children over in Coos Bay.
Okay, all right. What unmet needs do you see exist in the behavioral health arena in our KOBI's viewing area, from the coast to Klamath Falls and Lakeview? Yeah.
It really sort of depends because it's pretty local. Jackson County at this point, I think, they've got some budget cuts going on with mental health, as we know, and we'll see how those kind of play out. But one of the services that I've often thought Jackson County could use would be a crisis facility. A crisis facility is a residential facility at a lower level than a hospital, than a psychiatric unit in a hospital, and it typically length of stay is 3 days to 5 days or 10 days, and it allows somebody to recompensate, from a brief period of mental illness, return back to the community without ever the stigma of going in a hospital or going to the state hospital. And it's also less expensive.
Okay, all right. And then what are the crisis resources for children with mental health issues in this area?
That's a real problem in Oregon. Yeah. There's so few children's facilities. The business or the number of clients that have gone to Rogue Valley Medical Center in the last 5 years, children who have gone to the emergency room in mental health crisis, has gone up 185%, and Rogue Valley Medical Center does not have a specific children's program. The nearest one is in Eugene or Portland, and they have actually had to admit children because the severity of their episode was so severe, even without a program. And that's clearly something that we could use in this valley, would be a children's program for mental health.
Well, certainly sounds like it. All right, well, we're halfway done. We're going to take a quick break. Much more with Bob in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Bob Beckett, the Executive Director of Columbia Care Services. Bob, I want to ask you about veterans. We hear so much about the changes and when they return home. What is being done in that arena?
The veterans they're in a unique situation with all of the injuries that have been happening and our ability now to treat people. So we're keeping people alive and returning them home that we didn't in World War II and Korea. And obviously that's a good thing. Yeah. But the bad thing is sometimes they have severe injuries or severe head injuries, and that affects them for years afterwards. And this may or may not be part of the reason why veteran suicide is so high. But we have, abominable statistics about veteran suicide. There's more veterans committing suicide than are killed in the war. There's obviously something wrong with that. And so, Columbia Care got started in trying to do suicide prevention for veterans, and we have run a number of workshops in the area and around Oregon in promoting a program called ASSIST, Applied Suicide Intervention Skills Training, to help people deal with an experience where they see somebody else that might be ready to commit suicide or thinking of committing suicide, and how to, intercede with that. Yeah. And that sort of got us started in veteran services. Yeah. And the other need that we saw that wasn't being filled was housing. And so we purchased some apartment buildings here in town and started renting them to veterans and providing mental health services or suicide prevention services or family services to the veterans and their families. And, as our way of trying to help out what was going on. Wow. And that's kind of led, to, a bigger program for us. And we're now providing housing services all up and down Oregon and in fact in Seattle and Tacoma. Wow. And we're working with the VA on, some new services in the Los Angeles area. Wow. So that's kind of expanded, but certainly our, young men and women coming back from, Iraq or Afghanistan or wherever they've served, deserve all the help they can get in getting, readjusted and reacclimated back to the civilian world, and and get back to where they would have been had they not taken 2, 4, 6 years out of their life to help us. So it's something we're glad to do and proud to do.
Well, I'm glad you guys are doing it. It sounds like a fantastic program. Now, we're running a little short on time, but I do want to get this in. What do people not understand about mental health statistics?
Probably the biggest one is that people who have a mental illness are not any more inclined to commit a crime or to do anything illegal than anybody else. The statistics are the same across all spectrums, whether they have a mental illness or not. The same number of good people and the same number of bad people. It's just an illness. It's not something that causes more criminal behavior. And I think a lot of people don't understand that because, frankly, it gets kind of emphasized in the media, that it was a crazed veteran or a crazy person that did that. But the percentages really are the same.
Wow, okay. All right, and you have a website. I wanted to give you a chance to plug that.
Oh, we do, and it's www.KOBI-TV.org.
Bob, great to meet you. Thank you so much for coming in.
Nice. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Stay with us. We'll be right back.